We have about 40 minutes now for some questions. So if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand or come over here. It's fine either way.
I listened with great interest to the experience of the Khenpo about translating, but I was wondering, the Khenpo stressed how important it is to preserve Tibetan culture, and is doing it, of course. We are trying to do the same in the Western, but in the Western academia. But I was trying to understand what we are doing. Is it right or wrong? Because we are approaching the text from a philological point of view, and we are not, well, most of us are not Dharma practitioners. So when we approach the text, we do it from a secular point of view. And I was trying just to figure it out what the Khenpo's take is on that. Are we doing it right or wrong?
Tandi ngi terang de zhongkyub zenan zhaga shirkyub ka rinni ka rintang zer ko nanda chi chu ga tatpa dang chudam zirwa ga wangdo shikame chudam mam zirwa go ga rinni de la benang tsu wok inna wok chudan wok rinni ni ga njar ma shibar tawa zito kirwan zhe 대비전도 머리가 장가 그러는데 소인나요 라라 추다 탁거 금지라는 라라 추당 제가 매차양 연저다 更다른 region데 땅이 중주 고거세 중주 게나요 또 지금 런커 다 짐지가 이게 잠스다나 짐지가 수상로 요는 잠스가 말이까 때라 짐지가 시다나 티 회나 중주 마시누 니바 가리창도 당선 잠물는 게 있나 다시 가릭 다리가 년레전도 나가릭 몽즈 납게요카 대전도 머기야는 몽즈든 쳬가야가 단디 년카다나 단디 기칸이가 선로다 드니 지 무스던 세나 라랑 수수고나 링겐즈 요너레 디 링겐 데테 이다나 다 중축고 샤와데 짐직시나 탑츠른들 고게 디 탑츠르답자 디 탑츠르답자는 잠승은 말은 드니 머라랑 수수야나 동 무톡거다 그 샤와레 즙지즈 있니나 당원에 디 가르침보레 삼고요.
I am, of course, not talking about preservation of culture, not necessarily from a religious point of view. I'm not saying that one needs to be religious to be able to preserve Tibetan culture or to work towards it. And of course, Tibetan culture is indivisibly interlinked with Tibetan Buddhism. So it's very difficult to separate. But of course, one can work towards it without being religious. But I think one, of course, can work towards it, but I think one can't stop, just say, okay, I'm doing a research, and then think that that is part of the preservation of Tibetan culture. I think it's very important to look into what happens, how many languages and cultures are disappearing and has disappeared in the world. And when that happened, what happened? And then, in order to prevent that, what kind of method, research method or preservation method one can find. And not only the process of investigation into this, but also I think then one should try to personally also sort of contribute towards the preservation, implement it, not just doing a sort of a research and trying to find a method.
Tene ta tensan pöge nangten kangyuta tingula soba sangma keri shembenal pa gyurdu ore chesa pöbe keba mangbochi da chige keba mangbochi gi de yaboshira resi ore ine khachigi ene rang ki na yebegi sunrab sangma chila gyushana dege dene che ngejeji yoza gyursa gre dene shembesoge pöge da korza bi jang mogowe ne ta shodu zamba and rangi tursa rangi geyi tursa rangi tuba da chikbo reso ti kola kunsu kariyo nasa. Thank you.
Laso ti tandi chwa de nga tar nga yana yo mombo go ngon nyong Teni the chushoko cha land zidana teni jikten shoko lan ni depkin. Teni chushoko land daptani na taga sanjip jondan dega ta chu shongda yinina de roa ris machapa lair ka ta hlodong novjem ta. Roa tamchi kirka ta tari dakachin cha to song yon je. Teni kirondi 대지 회나가 그 보박을 코나가 춘데 냠슬은 촉다나 되니 저 잠바가 머르단 디모초 탐책거도 그 냠슬은 만인제 이다는 상기가 추글 갑나다리 송은 말에 추도 다리 처 체회 저거 처도 셈칭건 통초가전도 아젠 시양의 추도 냠슬랑 초지기 때요 그때니나 추당도 가라서 말에 삼고요 지그래 되니 아니시 다리가 단 직팅거 왕도 시기 잔지겠네나 때는 잠봉는 그 가르선 때는 그 가이 인난자가 르니 인난자가 너무 모즈 그 다리가 꾸니나 가르테티 르니인데 런탕 잔지겠나 때네 담 모즈가 다리가 그 니시스테르 왔다나 대전도 판토바레 가르팅 수 다리가 다 르종도 양직 쫀당 담바 대전도는 더 지르잖아 저도 먹고 봤다 물론 바진이나 대장가 마고 익상제시 기잔지나 대 캬추던 담바즈레다 이나요 직된 쇼공도 신이나 당아 주오그르니 따니 연안이 따마트그 와르더니 창마드 그거 로아미 릭스 요도 쪽 탐질라 판바 토끼즈 막 토즈면 노바 대치즈 메가제고 오늘에 되니 따 돈도 선바가 타게나 당상도 지 가수 워크 다리가 다 추인 난자가 찌진 난자가 창마라 삼로 하정 그 가로인도 그 되니 단정 그 랍도 숑하다나 랍도 숑 마임바가 다 탁숨 야침 보여 봐주 니 타다다리 샤 줍담 줍진바 연게 요니나 다지 시첩그 진가리가 따스름 보여래다 이나양 텔라다리가 구바 마토 제면 노파요지 마레고 삼주 망제때인라
I have been asked this question several times, so I've come across it, and I gave it. I usually give two answers from two different perspectives, from a dharmic perspective and from a secular perspective. And from a dharmic perspective, Buddhism and Buddha Dharma is advised by Lord Buddha himself to be propagated to all sentient beings, not just to other people and other nationalities, but to all sentient beings, and it should not be barred from anyone. Everyone should have access to it. It's like water. It's like a river that can be that nourishes everyone and all the beings. That is the metaphor for Buddha Dharma. And so, in that case, yes, we need to translate, and there's benefit for translating it. From a secular perspective, we need to ask the question: if we translate, does that benefit other people? Our culture Tibetan culture has an inherent beneficial quality to other people. To my mind, from the ancient times, our culture is such that it benefits other people, other nationalities. So therefore, it's important to translate it. But also, do we have anything to hide? Anything negative to hide? Anything that is detrimental to other people, to the well-being of beings? I don't think so. From the ancient times, we have these beneficial benefits of culture. So if we translate these sort of cultural texts into different languages, then they learn, they come to people, different people come to appreciate our culture. And as they come to appreciate and come to value the beneficial effect of it, then that will inspire more investigation and helps towards preservation. So then many great Tibetan scholars and Tibetans who were inspired by the intention to benefit others have been translating and have been working really hard to translate, to undertake these translations. So I don't think these great scholars and these great beings would dig their own graves.
Kempo, kwadinche, je ke sungshe de la pe yahoting zamo. Re any ngay thiwa di yen di mutuni thanda sungpa nangshi gyunsul ki rinne ta ani thangrab chen ki cherik ta denzo bagne nyambu doya ke ini thapsi khande thenguri ta di nga khatu yen di le samlo dangi yo ini ngone tani lalin khande ta gri pen iPhone ina kana pui yorba tadi nga sambala ngone tani pento yo tadi rabo ina kambula ke sung karsa samlo khande gongshi khande do
laso ta de sorgin dan teni tangrap ke jignin da ta maun nirkamna nge sanlo tangna tani perna chi mara shea da chi sonya ga ta timoga nesr shongna pe gyobore samgayo cherezena tanguni ga khazan terang tangrap ke chi lakhchar dan charang da choyina tang chun zamolong ga roa mi rig chagne tata ga warda chi ten javin perge shong mamnyo arta ba tangsang chan thombo sa thonre redana yanayang ngachu sem ga dekhe kam chonjang samno tanayang zamolong ga ma thamchik ga dngor ga ta nazik da tata rzum jong mamnyo arta ba kiryore tan de tari ga khzo da chi ngachu sorgin dana tangrabni ga cha mamnim bu samlug nesr anertang khabarchan zre samgyo deina chi jiman di thada 돈덕 치드 가수 낙출그 런탕더 되네 낙전 몽즈 그 따르다 시기 온 말에 니 런탕더 예화즈드 그 시기다 직 되네 돈덕 니시다 그 당럽 그 르네다나 당럽 그 넘버 양 찍거다 자동만 자가 당상 처차단 생활 찍거더니 되네 찍가차다는 그 잠만 몽즈 건지 단드츠 그 니바시기다 니 되네 돈덕 선바드 치리제네나 당아츠 지 셰르 탐케라 때니다나 회나 나글 그냥 마슈르이 당럽 거다리 차는데 위슈시죠다 하장 가르친 버렸삼고 회나 아이폰 산롭 당나야는 띠양 라마 그 도본 가레게는 단디나나요나 오이기요나 때 인치민치 메게는 또 여보 말해서다 다때 잠세요 지금 고바마 당상 ngachu pok lama thamche ke chuchsha na yang chama dan tene da simcher dan te iphone dan dimotsu thamche ke shako ner te ina yang ma chogi make dana da zud ji ngachu nachur ge di rentang da nachur ge namba de mani baz da ngiber yang go ina yang te ji ta chi de kola gba ton jona te ji manjig baz de ina yang di nachur ge da rentang da na di 되니 다디 스타와드 많이 비온 거 대샤와도 시기 잔지나 다 당상이나 되니 지금 양 만부즈 그 되는 나출 많이 빌고 그네는 당상 그 샤완데 양의 집나 다 지금 나등 냠질 그 다리가 람보친데라 그러나 샤가 쇼화전다나 되니 다리가 넌쇼가 남파초나라는 때지 흑강을 매반르스 근저로 옛날에는 니 차등이 진짜다 시름이 진짜 매니나 다 당상 나출 냠주 하전 같이가 나출 냠손에나 맞춘 조아메라 데스틴 정도 몸좀 할리지 다리가 되니 각각 전부 그지요 그삼
I think I don't know, it's difficult to tell that there will be the clash between tradition and modernity or modern sort of progress and ideas and technology. And if that comes ahead, if there is such a collision, sort of an irreconcilable collision, that will be as something tragic for humanity. That is really something upsetting. I think we can see in this day and at this time period in world history, we can see in terms of technological development, it is unprecedented. We have reached at an incredible level of technological advancement. However, again, in terms of our mental anxieties and depressions and challenges, we also have a huge challenge at that level. So what I sort of would say is that for the young, for the youth, that to be able to, first to be able to appreciate the value of tradition, the beneficial qualities of tradition. And to value this whilst also to see the sort of negative impacts and effects of electronic communication or modern progressive phenomena and sort of electronic distractions, come to aware of it, but then to use modern developments and material advancements and electronic information technology and all the sort of progressive advancements we made in this field, to use that to preserve, use that in a way to preserve the beneficial sides, the beneficial features of tradition. This is in terms of, for even if we use iPhone, some Tibetan lamas, some Tibetan monks regard it, even if it has a Tibetan language inside it, it's a distraction. It's not that beneficial. But I don't think so, because it really, through these electronic forms of media, through iPhone, through the internet, teaching, contemporary teaching is taking place. So there's a way of sort of combining these two in a beneficial way. So trying to find that sort of, discover such a point.
Thank you, Khenpo. So for yourself, who's a Tibetan Buddhist master, spreading Tibetan culture and religion in a predominantly Chinese-speaking world, what kind of challenges do you face inside China when it comes to Tibetan culture and Tibetan Buddhism?
시집고 다 뭐 속바진 내종때 속바데 야차야 담바 드니 지 각각 메비 속바즈도 харнап надан гангэркапнаян мебартаврэ самгё тэни гиргингүнион чи яна чи тобаг цад тумбузга тэвона таде чи какагдана варчитимоде зэнба мебазгонэрэ татела ян ранкэр гөвшэрдэн гэмэзгэнэ зонтэ саян тарга 요요건제다 옛나양 허르나 닝우니나 아테니 야나크지 추바촐라트 그추 쉐지난 자가 랑것 마인 바고 샤와 강당 강 점나요 좀바 야침보 께요 랑거 지 당보디 엄근던더 딱단키리 용차르네 zonte 티스당아 요 토마토 야차야 테 좀바 께요 옛나양 카르텐 점마토나 텔라지 쳇데 양 등허 야침보스 근 점바 첨보 시금에 좀바 쉬디는 다드 만족송나요 있나요 당만 있네는 샤와데 접디데 역쇼고 레와즈다나 테네 독쇼고 년감 종네 있나 다 찌르때 돈는 체지우 수상로데 흥은도 조이고 그 샤와데 직진이 적쇼고 조전요
Yes, in terms of if it's a group, or regardless of being a group or individual, you come to face challenges. Different challenges, and these challenges, when I myself, when I go and teach, I prepare for challenges ahead, and I have a task in hand, and I put my full effort, implementing this task and making sure I put that into practice. And sometimes I face challenges, but this not necessarily upsets me or disrupts me. So what I do is that before I go ahead and commit myself to an undertaking, I sort of prepare for it from a positive angle, but always also plan for the obstacles that lay ahead.
rumche Oxford la pe na ba ngan chang me kita sonam sur reja ana pe ka chung song tari tu sung chue nya ya ra ana ka me tu sna ya tu sra tari nge thwa di na khares na ke yi di na la ya ke yi di na so so ge ne de pe ge ge korum da du ne rimbe sin du ya pe ge chin den yo ke yi di na la ya ring ne da dun zo gi da 다 디게 천이다 돈저기 시제 돈저 게이디나라 야랑신 진로 주된jo 된데 진짜 만주 딱 벽게 있다 아니 돈저 냠바 침베나 만주 피리게다 마음 바디 다 페르네 페치샤 윤진체 도바 차샤네 먼저 페미 마음 바디 다 칸데지 차도 요나스야디 땅아주 초진의 릉네 윤진 초니네 벽 미리 스야 디근네 도비야 근데 르베니가네 삼나타비나 아나 칸데지 차고 요나스네 급 근데지 딱 페치샤는 먼저 비기 게이 토네다 인지 토네 낭체 동주 장바다야 페랑이 비랑 그 토네 낭체 장바디니 케바 칸데지 두고 요나스
라소 가든지 지 남바고 더니 셔동 nga tsompo ko jgne la te tawi semkhar chiji de pe manjawa gadin chimbore yinayo tangi tena perna yige tanga karte tarik jin mavjir jijanzena nga tsu jindang kacha shati te yang taj work kona shakand na maqto zemana tani tarik yenjir ka tanar yarkat tar kaja yang tarik tani ajangr kacha mavjana ajangr kacha goni tani tang su wok chuin na ja go shawain na ja gang chuin na shed goni wotam jir yo ni regne zin zonte tendi kacha goni na ya ji rien ka tanar yarka tanar karga jamba ga mashid nar gajin na teni yike ga karte germani ne nar kacha ga yang te mashid nar gajin na ne tsar dimuz ga chayo da samji wo chigda yin teni nisida ke na nga chu wok ta nga la hal chi ka semkri yo na ga 당선 워이르 તને 또 로총 몽보즈고 તને 지 워스크탄 워이그난다 니모소 라레 메시 라레 시다야나 때 돈다나 측은도 저 탐치다 다리 샘크르시도 하장 용어연 tene 지 셜록 그영가 다리가 너쇼고 지 사차나 요노 추영 지 다른거 다리 워크챗고나 지 워크초 머시데나 인지다나 잠바 추르카샷 대전다나 지 워추고 난돈 때야나 다리 워크글람네야 마시 인지라 소바가 장근 남네야나 지 여하즈 마토이 결혼디 마추 다리가 워크난추도 지금 너쇼고 먼저 수 탐치 그 시기 요는 막도 되면은 그 오빠 능그 지 메시지 년가 하장 친구가 나 샘커 돼요. 근데 양 뒤스다가 나주 오빠 주 회의 창마드는 더 저냐는 말은 더 셔냐는 말이지 창마가 틈도 있다는 곰바 끝그 능그 정적지기나 남식은 내ርከ나 오늘 전에 그 다리가 지 끝마다는 니모 그 잼통 그거는 앞기 용에 그 샴지 막도 되면은 가이 시도하면 난도 시도하면은 워근도 자나 마브지르누 개pen가 체는다 다가 년카가 체는 니 다다 다가 산로 미란 책당 고지들
yeah, so if we look at, if there's this question of should we translate Dharmic teachings in the written form into other languages or not, and then the question of, also the question arises that should we actually orally translate these Dharmic teachings or not. So a great complex rises. A huge complex of translation question rises, and the translation, of course, is vital. But the second thing is that there is a definite danger, and it does makes me sort of anxious, is that inside Tibet, as well as Tibetans in the West and more liberal environment, they both tend to be using more and more, even in their spoken language, using other foreign language or their sort of adoptive, the language of the adoptive country. So inside Tibet, there's more and more Chinese are being used in the vocabulary. Outside, more English and other language are being used. And then there is this danger also that Tibetans themselves do not understand or the message of their Dharmic teaching through their own language. So they need to get this through other languages. Yes, that is a challenge. But also through the other language, they do not also get it, because the other language translation, the standard of translation may not be good enough. So in that sense, something is being lost, literally being lost in translation. The message, the Dharmic message is being lost. And so this is a serious challenge. And if we look at some of the books and scriptures that sometimes monks and lamas and Tibetans say, oh, this shouldn't be translated. This is sealed, it's secret. And so secretly hidden away, sealed, some texts are buried, sort of hidden away in monastic chapels and in recesses. And so if this kind of texts maybe a thief or somebody steals it and might end up in a museum or somewhere, but it's not translated, so the message is lost. So yes, that is a big challenge.
We are just going to have one very short last question, and then I think that will bring tonight's teaching to a conclusion.
Thank you very much, Khenpo, for your time and your patience. My question is, would you please explain to me, explain to us, what is the difference between compassion and Buddha nature? And also, I have another question. I hope you can answer in a very brief way, which is in terms of reincarnation. How do you actually approach to the Western audience about this, completely different ideas? I know we talk about it in a kind of a relative truth in Tibetan Buddhism. Thank you very much.
Da chiri na zu xiam yang ji zi jin de xian ba de yan sem chin de ya dang dan chung na sam ji wu de sam ba zi yang ji de de ne yan ding er dang char chung na sam na zi de ne xiang chi ge sem de ne yan ro sem chin tam chat de ne nam ji ge ne keb na sang ji go mang to song na sam nu de ne sher ber zog xiang la meng na da na Then council ke semchen tamchet dengmer jedam chebab char sona samjewo to nyar je jandon lamg ba ta timu khabar yor tin na sham nyar je de shanchip ke sem ge jire ta shanchip ke sem de tene tarim jever tawa tani ge khabar jimjer tawa chayok
is compassion and Buddhahood are the essence of Mahayana vehicle. And compassion is both the compassion and kindness is the intention, the motivation to the aspiration that other beings be free from suffering and gain happiness. And also the compassion is the cause of Buddhahood. And Buddhahood is the sort of effect, the result of compassion and kindness. And Buddhahood is the benefit, to gaining enlightenment for the well-being of others and affect others to gain also enlightenment.
Tani trawa ni ba. Tani ta nabshuk jenchi nam jing zin jana zu de tani ng zu ngrer mo chi ge song ni war du tu zhe chen bo de ge jinji ge ter to nam ji ter ne ton ba te yo re ta te na tang sang de ran nga zhong ni de ne ta re lop cha chen mo ne huim zo keng ge nang ge yang ri song che re zena de ni tong chir ge lo de ne ta yin ji ge ka to gir de ne zama parchir tati nanak sarka chimbo mekadana chirtong gibjar chirglo tari tani chirtong gibja nish tsavdang glo tani ta tep te tari khwachin zo na te hajang chakchi goz gesong je ta khwerna ti nangna tani wardo gar namjig dana shivir namjig yonje tani ta mo shini de wardo nyansum jorne jima 땅 수나 추거 갑나 캬버데요나 투줄 거더 찰럭다나 양럭 다 이게 수능이 있나 되네 그 덴조다나 안조 라속바 되네 출력 잠바에 하장 제사 출력 잠바에 하장 다리가 집물군이나 되네 가수 오진 나탄 거갑나 송오늘이 되니나 데란드니 지 따티츠고 나야 리제라즈기나 지금 먼저거다 옛나야 지 카테 모바일 지기나 당이야 다리가 지르추레 대전다나 지 쌈추레 되네 어종 몬즈 그나나 대담제력 되네 가차 몬즈 그 셋교 되나 파르체와 그 대rem지 다리가 어즈로나
in terms of death and rebirth, which is mostly dealt in Bardo Turul, the enlightened, what the Bardo through hearing, which is the Tibetan Book of Dead, which this morning I had the opportunity to see and was translated into English in 19, is it? And in 1927, I think it was published. And in there, it has got detailed explanations of death and detailed explanations of the wanderings and roaming in the stage of Bardo towards the conception. And also from different perspectives of religious traditions, it's explained in a detailed way. So today I do not have time to go into detail about this sort of descriptive passages of Bardo Tudo, the Book of the Dead. But if you would like to find more about it, then I could introduce you to some of my works and to texts that elaborate on this.
Thank you everybody for coming this evening. Thank you, Kempo, very much.